Please take your seats. Where's our boxer? Oh, he's on his way. Ah, so I get to take these up to my office. He can come and get them later. Alright. I think if he's not here yet, we can start with the other things first. Because I think he should be here before we do the statement. Okay. So maybe wait for him. So let's start with your one. Okay. And then we can go to questions until he gets here.
Do you have that? Because she's the one who's going.
So the box is not here until he comes.
Thank you for joining us at this junction. The journalists, I think we should give to our honorable round of applause. Right. At this point in time, we have some welcome remarks from our secretary, who's represented by the director leader.
Just sit, don't worry. Just sit and talk, yeah.
Thank you very much, members of the press, for coming and to be with us this morning as we announce developments which have happened in the Ministry of Youth, Sport, Art and Recreation with regards to the Department of Sport. We welcome you. We acknowledge the presence of our Honorable Minister, Honorable Dr. Kirtsy Coventry, the presence of our Director Sport, Director Chidakwa, the presence of our Boxing Board Secretary General, Mr. Boika, and we acknowledge the presence of the press. Thank you. At this point in time, we'll go to the announcement of appointments which have happened within the AUSC Region 5. Appointment of our very own Honorable Minister, Dr. Kirtsy Coventry, Hall of Fame. I hand over to Director Chidakwa to give us further details.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to invite the Honorable Minister to make announcements of the various appointments that have happened within the region. And also, we are made to understand that he had some various questions that he had asked the Honorable Minister. And this is the opportunity that she's going to give you to be able to answer the various questions. While listening, in the meantime, we are waiting for our boxer to be here so that we can celebrate with our boxer. So over to you, Honorable Minister, for the announcements.
Thank you, Director. Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for being here with us today. So we're going to start on the appointments. The Ministry of Youth, Sport, Art and Recreation is pleased by the appointment of Ms. Chidakwa as the chairperson of the Sport Development and Technical Committee for the African Union Sports Council Region 5. Her rise is indeed a confirmation of her resolute character, particularly in the development of sport in the country and beyond, that highlights of which have been the innumerable initiatives of sport and recreation being delivered by the ministry and its technical arms countrywide. We are very excited that Ms. Chidakwa is in the position of the Development and Technical Committee, as it will be a focus for the region as we move forward, especially as the region, along with the continent, is wanting to focus more on their podium performance so that we as a continent and region and country can ensure the success of our athletes. The appointments were fully endorsed by all council ministers at the meeting held on the 4th of December. And as I said, we as a ministry and myself as the minister is very excited about this development, showcasing the faith and the trust that the AUSC Region 5 have in our very own director. She is also the recipient of a 10-year service award, where she became the first woman to be a recipient of this award. and I think that's a huge feat, especially in the world of sport. Many organizations are ensuring and fighting for better and higher women's participation. To have our very own woman receiving this award is showing that we're moving in the right direction. Allow me also to confirm my induction into the African Union Sports Council Region 5 Hall of Fame, which was also fully endorsed by the ministers at that meeting. The Hall of Fame is an extension of the Regional Sport Museum, which is going to be established here in Zimbabwe. And we are very excited that Zimbabwe won that honor. We were supposed to kick off the planning for the museum this year, but unfortunately due to COVID, we couldn't have the regional partners traveling as most countries shut down their borders. So for 2021, the plan is to be having and holding those meetings, having the design aspects finalized with architects, along with ensuring that we have the right curators. It's a regional museum, so each of the countries will have their own specific items that they would want shown. So there goes quite a lot of planning. So that's what will be done in 2021, and then hopefully opening the museum in 2022. Is that correct? Or depending on the year, next year, by the end of the year, we would hope that it would be open. So with those few remarks on the appointments for the AUSC Region 5, does anyone have any questions for myself or the director on those two specific things before we move forward? No. Okay, great. Thank you. Right. Thanks. Well done. Okay, I think what we can do while we wait for our champion to arrive, some of the media had sent in questions. So we wanted to see if you still wanted me to answer these same questions, or if you had slightly different questions, or you just want me to go one by one. Nobody.
The Honorable Minister is trying to say that she received questions from different journalists to this conference. So I think you can have maybe for the first round, I think 3 questions from the floor.
Okay.
Then we go. I'll recognize him first, then you say it.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Lincoln.
Can you be audible?
I'm asking. My name is Lincoln the Sunday Mail.
Hi, LinkedIn.
I sent a question on the boxing board.
On the boxing board, yes. So the boxing board is still in the vetting process. As you know, for all boards, names get put forward, and it goes through to the Office of the President for vetting, and that's where we are with that process. Thank you.
My name is Olas Mawira. I write from Panel TV. Just a follow-up to the regional museum on sport. Maybe you should give us a general background of what is intended to do.
So the museum is intended to be able to house, right now as a region, if we look as a region, there's been quite a few of us who have hosted, say, the All Africa Games. But there's really nowhere to showcase that. We also have nowhere to showcase our champions from the All Africa Games or even from our regional games. And so we really want the museum to be the representative of being able to house our athletes from around the region that have done well, as well as having the storyline of ourselves as a region, where we've been, what we've done, what we've accomplished at the different continental games as well as Olympic games, and to bring that all together. So that's where I was saying in 2021, that storyline, because it's a regional museum, it's not just Zimbabwe, we have to sit down with all the other countries to try and figure out exactly how that storyline will be told, what exactly are the pertinent points that the museum needs to house, along with what exactly is the overall goal for the museum. Is it something that's always going to remain with us? Is it something that's going to move? Because those would have some big questions on the architectural design. If it's a movable museum, it obviously will look quite different. If it's supposed to move around the region every few years, there will be different conversations had. If it's something that Zimbabwe is going to house for the next, what did we say,
5 years.
5 years, what does that look like? After those 5 years, if the plan is then for the regional side to move, how do we then create our own national sports museum? So those are all of the conversations and the planning that is going to be happening in 2021. Right now, the location for the sports museum will be at the National Sports Stadium.
Right, thank you, Honorable. Any other questions from the floor? I recognize him in there.
Okay, Honorable Minister, it looks like the pandemic is here with us.
So, sir, your name and your details.
Okay, my name is Larry Shusega from ZBC News. It looks like the pandemic is here with us. So 2021, is the nation ready to resume major sports?
Resume?
Major sports.
Yes, I think so. So obviously the way in which we have structured the resumption of sports, there had to be a structure put in place and procedures that all national associations needed to follow. And that process is a national association was classified into low risk, medium risk, high risk. They would then be able to apply to SRC with a full brief of how and what measures they were going to take. The SRC then put together a smaller working party made up of doctors as well that would review all of those processes. And once those processes reviewed, they would then send their response up to me to say this is recommended and this is why, as long as these procedures are followed, and then sports were allowed to resume. That was to resume practicing. If teams are wanting or sports are wanting to hold that we as Zimbabweans are talented in and should be known for, and that goes back to our history. It's a whole sports science. When you say the country Jamaica, the first thing pops into your mind is Usain Bolt, and they're known for 100, 200 meter sprints. That's it. So as a country, we need to be able to look from a look at studies and say these are the sports that we want to focus on, these are the sports that we've done well in, and these are the sports that are then going to be receiving adequate funding so that they can move forward. And when we talk about access, we as a ministry want to focus on better access for everybody, for all communities. And I personally think, and I think the director along with the permanent secretary will know that when we talk about facilities, we don't just want to build one sports facilities. We don't just want to focus on hockey or just focus on soccer. They need to be multi-purpose. And so that as a ministry is the way in which we're going. As I said, we are the big focus for this year and next year and the 2 years after that will be revamping the community centers across the country, where there'll be multi-purpose courts and multi-purpose sports along with art and facilities, along with youth facilities and ICT and Wi-Fi and computers. That's going to be the main focus for now. And again, I come back to saying that if we can show our corporates that our governance within sport is going to be better, I believe that we will be able to gain some corporate sponsors that will come in and help us with the bigger projects because that is how they were run. That's how they were built. Chitungwiza was built for the 1995 All Africa game from an individual. It wasn't built by government. The money for the hockey stadiums, I'd have to go back, but I believe they had quite a few corporate sponsors, and we've lost those corporate sponsors because those corporate sponsors have lost their trust in the national associations because of bad governance. So we have to fix that, prove that we are moving forward for the betterment of sport and for athletes, and I think we'll get the corporates back up that will want to come in and partner with us and get our bigger eyesores fixed.
The last question.
Mr. Just a follow-up on the COVID funds. As a ministry, did you track to see if the funds are closer to the intended recipients? And also, just looking into 2021.
Yeah.
Since the situation stands, what we plan now for 2021?
A standstill in terms of what?
In terms of sport.
Well, I think the whole world is at a bit of a standstill in terms of sport, in terms of art, because of COVID. There's not really been many things that we've been able to do. But in terms of the athletes, our athletes have remained very focused. They've remained dedicated. They've been doing their best when they can train. They've been training. So I think the athletes are ready to hit the ground running. From a ministry side, again, I'll repeat myself, we need to ensure that the national associations are ready to hit the ground running in 2021 by being focused on growing their sports, by being focused on better governance, by being focused on ensuring that they're doing the best for the athletes and hence the country. And your first question was? The COVID funds, yeah. So the great thing with the COVID relief funds for our youth, our artists and athletes, was that we've now got a good database of all of these athletes. There's no way that the funds could go to someone that we don't know exactly who they are, because they had to provide IDs, they had to provide their names, their numbers. There was a whole long list of things that they had to do. So the funds are going to the exact right people who should be receiving the funds.
Mona Lisa, she got the funds.
There you go. I just want to look quickly to see. I think most of the questions, is there any that haven't been?
Let me just check.
The ICC announcing that Zimbabwe will host the World Cup qualifiers in 2023. Yes, it's true. We had sat down with the chairman of the ZC and the chairman of the SRC, I think it was closer to the beginning of the year, to strategically ask when and what competitions Zimbabwe would be able to bid for in order to host in terms of cricket, and we agreed on a certain number of events that the Zimbabwe Cricket Union would then apply for. And as we saw the result being announced yesterday through the ICC communications, they have awarded the 2023 men's qualifying World Cup qualifiers to Zimbabwe. So we're very excited about that. I think it's a huge thing for the country, a good thing for cricket. And I think it shows that when we all work together, it's quite amazing the things that we can achieve. And my understanding with these being able to host these kind of qualifiers is it will also bring in some extra funding, which will allow for us to grow the game both for the women and for the men. Right, thank you.
I will hand over to the
Yep.
So I'll hand over to you.
Right. Don't worry, I got it. You don't need all the protocol. Right. Now on to the exciting. I nearly took your your belts home with me. You're lucky you arrived. But then I was reminded that you're a boxer, so. Ladies and gentlemen, media, permanent secretary, directors of the ministry, it is my very big honor and privilege to welcome you to this celebration of one of Zimbabwean sport talent. We are gathered, Denese, or aka Boika. What does that mean?
The Russian fighter.
Ah! Why do you want to be a Russian fighter? We need to give you a proper Zimbabwean name. Yeah.
But he's a true boxer.
Is he well, you're a true boxer.
Inspired.
Ah, that's good. So he inspires you.
Yeah.
So we're very excited to be here to give recognition to Brendon, who is the new World Boxing Organization Africa welterweight champion after overcoming Mika Shoina of Namibia with a 6th round knockout. Oh, wow. And you have 18 matches undefeated.
It's Migashan. I have 8 now.
You have 8 now.
Yes.
Oh, Migashan had 18.
Yes.
Oh, 16. Oh,
that's a good one.
well done. So we want to welcome home our very own champion. And I know that the media will probably have quite a lot of questions for you, but we're very proud of you and well done. I think this is a huge thing, not just for yourself, but for the country, especially during a year as this one where there's been COVID, to show that athletes can rise above, can rise to the occasion, and can show to their tenacity and their determination and their passion for their sport. So well done, Brendon. We're very proud of you. And I'll pass the floor over to you if you'd like to say a few words and if the media want to ask a few questions. Okay, there you go.
I'd like to honor everybody who is here, Honorable Minister and members of the Zimbabwe Boxing Board. It has been all my wish to fight for such kind of these big titles, prestigious titles, Academy. And my coach being Ali Piri, otherwise known as Otto, and my manager being Charles Manyuch and my Prosper Shibaya. It's been a tough time. I've been camped for, I think it's a month, preparing for my fight versus Mika Shonena. And we haven't stopped training since we've been hit by the pandemic. We've been training all along, we've been training and we've been pushing and keeping pressing to go for the big belts. So I've won there in Namibia to fight in the welterweight contest. It was a WBO 10 rounds title fight. And lucky, I got a victory in the 6th round. And I want to thank everybody for the support, the prayers. And in Zimbabwe, we run. We're going to bring more belts under the academy. I'm going to do such good news to bring more belts. I'm going to go for the WBC. If my team is behind me, I'm going to push for the big belts to put my country on the map, representing Manyuch Academy. So I want to thank you, everybody, for coming. This is good. I wish you Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Right. Honorable Minister, I think we would like some questions.
Yes,
Boika.
please.
Questions to Boika from the media. I recognize you. Yeah. You can start.
My name is for the minister. Are you aware that some of these boxers usually themselves?
Boxing is slightly different, as I'm sure some of you know. Boxing, because of its professionalism, falls under the responsibility for the promoters and for the management. It's not something that falls under, say, SRC as a national team. The boxers that are unprofessional, and would go to the Olympic Games would fall under our responsibility and things like that. But once you turn into that professional league, it's the promoters and managers. But what I can say in terms of that is, again, these are things that we and I should be made known. And then what we can do is we can request to the promoters, just like when we have, say, FC Platinum traveling, that the teams and the athletes get treated with the most respect, and that if there is an easier, more affordable way for them to travel, that's going to help and benefit their performance at the end of the day, that's obviously what we would like to see being done.
Thank you, Madam. Your media house and
Ash to hear from Star FM. I'm a question for Boxer for Boika. It's been a tough year for everybody, I guess, but how frustrating has it been for you guys, because the fights have been fewer, the opportunities have been fewer as well. And you look ahead at 2021, I heard your ambitions, which are awesome, but even I think with Mona, it's been tough even to get events, to get fights and all. How has it been for you guys this year?
Yeah, this year we were pushing. My first fight this year, that was when I went for the Olympic qualifiers in Senegal. And I managed to go for the semi-finals, and I was out in the semi-finals. I was beaten by the guy from Congo. And from there, that's where we hit by the pandemic. It's been hard because we haven't received any fight from there, but we never stopped training. Our managers, they're always keeping in touch with us wherever we will be. They're always keeping us in touch with us, giving us a program for training per day. So when I received the news for this fight, and I reported for camping to actually push for the best. Here I got the belt. So I'm here.
thank you, Honorable. I think we'll take two more questions.
I'm Michael Kariati from Studio Service. My question is directed to Mr. Coventry. The Olympic Games are just around the corner, and so far there's not been any activity going on. What is the government doing to assist those Olympians came out for Japan?
What do you mean there's been nothing going on?
In terms of preparation, that is what I'm asking. That what is the government in terms of financial assistance doing to prepare those athletes who are going for sport?
So the preparation is already started. It started last year because obviously most athletes that had qualified had already qualified. The assistance from the government, there had already been money that had been set aside to assist the Zimbabwe Olympic Committee for all of the travel arrangements. And then when we heard of the postponement, that money was then directed to other programs and projects. But there's still the direct budget that has been set aside by the government to ensure that the team, all the team's flights, travel, and everything is paid for and done. The preparations, we had a Zimbabwe Olympic Committee board meeting 2 weekends ago, and the athletes are still ongoing. There's been a few athletes that have qualified. Some, because of COVID, their qualification events have now changed, and they're waiting for those international federations to confirm the dates. And then there are also, we have our rugby team that should be traveling start of next year to potentially qualify our rugby sevens on our men's side. And we have, I think there's 2 other events that the federations are still looking at, because what they have said is that if generally with the federations, some of them would be qualifying events at their world champions. But if some countries can't travel, they will then look at continental events or regional events. So we still have a chance to increase our team size. But I think the team size that the Zimbabwe Olympic Committee is looking at is somewhere between 7 and 10 athletes outside of the rugby sevens. Obviously, if the rugby sevens qualify, it will make the team bigger. But those are all still going ahead, and the Zimbabwe Olympic Committee has been given full support from Ministry for those preparations, and not just for the preparations of the Olympic Games, but the Paralympic Games. The ministry was about to lead the Paralympic athletes to Dubai for their qualification in September, which then was cancelled for COVID, and it's been pushed to 2021. It will be sometime maybe February, March, sometime in March. And government had set aside, we had paid for everything already. It was already paid for. So government is fully committed to the financing of the Olympic Games and Paralympic Games.
Honorable, there was another question from that gentleman.
Yeah.
Okay, Honorable, my question is more of a follow-up to Lenton's question with regards to travels. Yes, you said that sport is professional and it's under the promoters to take care of that, but ultimately, it is your baby because you are the minister.
Yeah.
So shouldn't there be a policy with regards to travels?
Yeah, and that's where again I come back to the Sport Integrity Bill and the SRC Act and realignment. Is all of those will then be put into place. In the Zimbabwe Sport Integrity Bill principles, we talk specifically about the legal, if you help me with the wording, about the protection and safeguarding of our athletes. That is where this will come into play. There will be certain protocols that, as like minimum standards almost, that national sports associations, professional or non-professional, should try their utmost to abide by. So that will all be in there. And the reason that we've been focusing on the Sport Integrity Bill is because of all of these things. And right now, there's no real way for, yes, it's a nice thing for me to keep saying, do this, do this, do this. But unless there's something that has a bit of teeth to say, well, if you're not doing this, and if you're not looking after your athletes, but you're getting paid X amount of money, you need to own up to something. So it will be taken care of in that Sport Integrity Bill when we talk about the athletes safeguarding and looking after the athletes physically, emotionally, and mentally. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable. I believe at this time, the Charles Manyucha Academy, Honorable, they would like to convert you with a big token.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll get one of these.
I'm sure. So I invite the director to do this.
A swimmer into a box? I don't think so.
Morning, Honorable.
Morning.
My name is Prince. I'm the director for Charles Manyucha Academy, and I'm here to just give you a small token of appreciation for leading our call to come and celebrate our gallant son and fighter, Brendon. There's such a very short notice. So just wanted to give you this very small token.
Thank you. Is it signed?
He can probably do that for you. Just
you have to sign for me.
Yeah, it's okay.
No, I don't. But I want a proper pen. We have to get a proper. Terry, we need a marker.
A marker.
Yeah. What does Mr. T35 mean? What am I missing?
He's one of our corporate sponsors.
Ah! Okay.
So that's his company. It's called Ticket.
Ah, what does it do?
It's into
There. Okay. That's the heavy lifting. See, I could be a marketing person. Okay. So I need Brendon and Mona Lisa. I need both.
While we are waiting for the, I think, Honorable, we can stand then.
Take some pictures.
Yeah.
Right.
Honorable Minister,
How do you have another one with Kirtsy? So you're gonna have another one with manager? Mr. Scottana.
And it's so happy. Yeah. Very cool.
Also that you swap.
Wow. Don't touch it. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is very special. Well done for this year. Incredible. Well done, well done. Right. Please sign for me.
Wait a second.
Sign here, because then I can get it, we can put it in the frame. Awesome. Thank you. Gender equality. Okay, come.
This is Mona Lisa.
Yes, I know.
That's enough.
Thank you. Awesome. Very cool.
Honorable Minister, I
Yes.
think we have come to the end of our press conference.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
The CEO for the boxing, we just want to do a vote of thanks.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Ah, this way.
Wow.
It's a good one.
That's a good feast.
Don't fight it.
No, I won't.
I'm going to give lessons, so if any of my directors give me trouble, I just box them. Well done, Brendon. Well
No,
done. Keep
Mr.
it that
Secretary
way.
is doing a vote of thanks.
Okay, the Honorable Minister, Dr. Kesko, the Permanent Secretary, ladies and gentlemen, let me say all protocols observed. Let me, on behalf of the boxing fraternity, take this opportunity to thank the Honorable Minister for taking time to honor our boxing great. I think Boika, is poised to become one of the best boxers Zimbabwe has ever seen, because at just 8 professional matches, he already has 2 titles under his name. So it's something that we think as a country, if we really give him enough support, he can rise to become the best boxer in the country. So thank you, Honorable, for recognizing his
Not just
exploits
the country.
Yes.
As
So,
my hopes.
I thank you and thank all the members of the media fraternity and everyone who has come to this function. Keep on supporting boxing. Boxing has got the potential to become one of the best sports in Zimbabwe and in the region as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Thank you.